Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Shane.
And I am Nina. And it's field trip time.
Wow, part C. Okay, so I was thinking about a field trip that is a really bad memory.
Really? You have any bad memories?
Yeah, not all field trips are fun.
Okay, which one?
So we went on a field trip just to the local park.
Okay.
And they have lots of things that you can climb on and play with. So I was climbing up on top of a small building.
Building?
Yeah, kind of like had the stairs, and it was like, it was called the castle.
Okay, I see.
And
did you fall?
Yeah. I was not really doing what I should do. I tried to jump from one part of the castle to another because I wanted to show off. Ooh.
So everyone can look at you and think you're cool.
Hey, look! And I went to jump and I missed the other side. And I fell backwards, landed on my arm broke, and I hit my head, and I still have a scar. It's probably too small for you to see it, but I also cut my head open, so I was bleeding, and a broken arm, and I had to go in an ambulance. That was kind of cool though.
How old were you?
I was only 10 years old.
Okay, that does sound like not so great of a field trip.
It wasn't, but it's kind of a fun memory.
Okay, at least it's something that you can share with people, right?
Exactly, like you guys.
Okay,
why don't we get into part C?
And don't be jumping around like that.
Be careful.
Margot and Carter are at the meeting spot.
You worked hard to find everything. You're an excellent scavenger.
Thanks. I really want to win that prize.
Me too. Hey, what's wrong with your hand?
I cut it on something sharp, but it isn't bad.
The teacher has a first aid kit. I'll go and get it.
Okay, so in part B of It's Field Trip Time, do you remember what happened?
Yes, so Carter wasn't interested in anything to do with the science center, right?
Right.
And Margot was having a great time until Carter found out there was going to be a scavenger hunt, but with a prize for the winner.
So he seems a little bit interested in winning the prize.
Yes.
Okay, so now Margot and Carter are at the meeting spot.
Meeting spot.
All right, so a meeting spot is just a place or a spot that people meet before they do some activity. So if you're a classroom of students and you go on a field trip, of course, it's easy for people to get separated.
Yes, so there should be some meeting spot.
You have a meeting spot so you can go to the next place.
Yes.
So for example, Nina couldn't find the meeting spot because she's so silly.
No, Nina couldn't find the meeting spot because Shane gave her the wrong directions on purpose.
Yeah, that was pretty silly of me, wasn't it?
All right.
Okay, so Margot is as usual, and
Yes.
I'm Carter.
Margot says, you worked hard to find everything. You're an excellent scavenger.
Yes, I am.
Ooh, so they did find everything. Okay, he's an excellent scavenger. When you are an excellent something, it means really good or great. For example, Shane is excellent at being silly.
I'm an excellent silly head.
Yes, pretty much.
So Carter says, thanks. I really want to win that prize.
Ooh,
So
okay.
now we see that Carter really likes prizes.
I mean, who doesn't?
That's true.
Yeah, okay, so Margot says, me too. Hey, what's wrong with your hand? What happened to his hand?
So Carter says, I cut it on something sharp, but it isn't bad.
Ooh, just like when you cut your eyebrow.
Yeah, that was bad. I had to have,
Stitches?
yes, I had to have stitches, like I think it was 12 stitches.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really bad.
it was pretty bad. So to cut, that's a verb. To make an opening or a wound. So a wound is like when you hurt yourself, we call that a wound.
Yes.
So to make an opening in a wound or something like that, especially with a sharp tool, like a knife or scissors,
Ooh.
or just on something sharp,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so for example, Jocelyn cut her head when she fell off the chair.
Oh, that sounds horrible. Have to be careful.
Oh, it was sharp, you know, so.
Sharp is having a point or edge. For example, I think I have sharp nails.
Let me see. Ow, yeah.
Right?
Those are pretty sharp.
Yeah. So for example, be careful with the scissors, they are sharp.
Be careful with your nails. They're sharp. Don't touch me.
So Margot says, the teacher has a first aid kit. I'll go and get it. Okay, so what's a first aid kit?
Okay, so when you get hurt, you need first aid. So first aid just means very quickly to help somebody who has gotten hurt. Maybe before you can go to a hospital or get more care from like a doctor. So a kit is just a small box, right? So first aid kit is a small box that has things like medicine or bandages, like okay bang, you know?
Yeah.
We don't say okay bang in English, we say band-aid.
Band-aid.
So bandages or band-aid for someone who is hurt.
Okay.
So it's just a way to help get somebody, like if they're bleeding, you can stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
Or if they have some scratch, you want to clean it, right?
Or put some medicine. Okay.
So the example sentence, I have a first aid kit for earthquakes.
Okay, so what would be in the first aid kit for earthquakes?
So we would have things like bandages, we'll have things like medicine that you can take if you maybe hurt yourself and you have some pain. And then also in there we'll have other things like maybe a flashlight.
Some tools.
So you can see here's some tools. But yeah, I think it's important to have an earthquake kit, and you should have some first aid things in there in case you get hurt during an earthquake.
Okay, so let's find out more about what happens to Margot and Carter after the break.
Okay.
You don't need to do that. I already stopped the bleeding. I used my ticket because I didn't have a tissue.
That's crazy. Why didn't you tell me when it happened?
We were busy. Also, it was no big deal.
All right, welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
Yeah, so before the break, we found out that Carter did a good job at finding all the things from the scavenger hunt,
But I
right?
think he was too excited and he cut himself.
Yes, so Margot was looking for the first aid kit to help him with that.
So Carter says, you don't need to do that. I already stopped the bleeding. Okay.
Okay?
I used my ticket because I didn't have a tissue.
Okay.
So he just used his ticket, I guess, from maybe the exhibition or
Maybe.
something, and then just stopped his bleeding.
I hope the ticket was clean. Otherwise, it's not very good for you.
Yeah, if something is bleeding, it's probably not safe to just use a
piece of paper.
A piece of paper.
Yeah, so bleeding is when blood comes out from a cut.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, well, when blood is coming out, you're bleeding, basically.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. So for example, she got a bandage for the bleeding on her knee. So if she scraped her knee, then she was bleeding.
Right. Okay. So the next vocabulary word is tissue. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so a tissue is a piece of soft paper used to wipe parts of your body. But it could be used to blow your nose, or it could be used to stop bleeding. Right? If you're crying, you can dry your tears. So for example, Nina's nose is always running. Does she have a tissue?
Please give me some.
She
I
does-
always need tissues.
She does have a tissue.
Okay, so Margot says, "That's crazy. Why didn't you tell me when it happened?" Okay, so Margot is clearly worried about him.
Yeah.
So crazy means acting silly or strange, which is what Shane is most of the
Wait a
time.
second. I'm not crazy.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll say that like not necessarily somebody is crazy, but the situation is crazy. Something
Yeah.
happens and we will say, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
好疯狂哦.
Yeah, so it can be crazy, like something that's wild, right?
Yeah.
So for example, we had a crazy dance party. Woo!
So we're a little bit wild, crazy.
Okay.
So Carter says, we were busy. Also, it was no big deal.
Okay, so Carter is very brave.
It sounds that way, or he's very dirty.
Well, I hope the cut wasn't that bad.
Well, I think if you're using a tissue to, not a tissue, a ticket to stop your bleeding, you're probably going to make yourself worse because that ticket was definitely dirty.
Okay, well, I hope Carter was fine in the end. And hopefully they won the prize?
See, yeah, we don't know what happened. Like, what was the big prize, and did they win the big prize?
But I think the main point is at the end, he did have a good time, right?
That's true. Even though he cut himself, it seems like he still had fun. And even though he cut himself, he thought, hey, it's no big deal.
Yeah, okay. So we will see you next time.
Yeah, that was an interesting 3 parts talking about going on a field trip. So maybe we should go on a field trip now.
Sounds like fun.
Okay, bye-bye.
Margot and Carter are at the meeting spot.
You worked hard to find everything. You're an excellent scavenger.
Thanks. I really want to win that prize.
Me too. Hey, what's wrong with your hand?
I cut it on something sharp, but it isn't bad.
The teacher has a first aid kit. I'll go and get it.
You don't need to do that. I already stopped the bleeding. I used my ticket because I didn't have a tissue.
That's crazy. Why didn't you tell me when it happened?
We were busy. Also, it was no big deal.
Hi, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 excellent 形容词，杰出的、优秀的。David is an excellent doctor. David 是一位优秀的医生。下一个单字 cut 动词，割伤、切到，它的3态是一样的 cut. Judy accidentally cut her finger in the kitchen. Judy 在厨房不小心割伤手指头。Accidentally 指的是意外的。下一个单字 sharp 形容词，锐利的、锋利的。This knife is very sharp. Be careful. 这把刀非常尖锐，请小心。最后一个单字 crazy， 形容词，荒唐的。He came up with a crazy idea. 他提出了一个荒唐的想法。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 somebody works hard to 加动词，表示某人努力做某件事情。work 在这里指的是做事。hard 是一个副词，表示努力的、费劲的。我们来看看这个例句。The boy worked hard to achieve his goal. 这个男孩努力达到他的目标。Achieve 指的是达成， goal 指的是目标。下一个文法 What's wrong with 加名词，什么东西怎么样了。Wrong 是一个形容词，表示出问题的、不正常运作的。这边要注意介系词的用法哦，也可以直接以 What's wrong 指怎么了来提问。我们来看看这个例句 What's wrong with your car? 你的车子怎么了？最后一个文法 No big deal 没什么大不了。Big deal 是一个固定用法，指的是非常重要的事情。假设一个人错过了一班火车，但他知道下一班马上就会来，不用担心，他就可以这样说 It's no big deal, the next one is coming soon. 没什么大不了，下一班马上就来了。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Today, we are taking a look at the Chiayi Sawmill. So you might be wondering, what's a sawmill? Well, we know what a saw is, right? It's used to cut things. In this case, they are cutting wood. And we know that wood is a very important thing in Chiayi. And a mill is a place where we process something using machinery. So in this case, we are processing wood. But Chiayi Sawmill is not an active sawmill anymore. It's more like a museum. Let's take a look. Chiayi used to be a really important place for forestry. Back during the Japanese rule period, the Japanese found that Alishan was rich in all kinds of forest resources. So at that time, they started to develop forestry. The Chiayi Sawmill was built way back in 1914. The sawmill was used for storing the wood from Alishan, and then they would process this wood into timber, which was the wood that was used for building homes and all kinds of things. It had the best machines to handle this process. However, in the 1960s, the authorities stopped logging. But as time went by, fewer and fewer people knew about the history of logging in Chiayi. So in order to bring the memory back, the Chiayi Sawmill was rebuilt. Now the Chiayi Sawmill has become a very great attraction, which shows lots of beautiful wood sculptures. And people now know how the Chiayi Sawmill used to work in the past. Although the Chiayi Sawmill no longer produces timber, its great history is well kept. And the newly opened Chiayi Sawmill collects these past priceless assets for visitors to enjoy. So historically, we know the importance of wood in Chiayi. And coming from the Alishan forest, wood plays a huge part in the history of Chiayi. So by taking a look at the sawmill, we can get to the roots of the people of Chiayi. You see what I did? The roots, like a tree. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.